Hello, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube Live. This is Hudson. I know you guys wanted to see him, so I thought we'd get him in there right at the beginning. And then we are going to go back to me. It's not just Hudson here today. Hello, everybody who is already in the chat. We have a very special guest this week, and I feel like I say that every week, but this one is extra special to me because we're talking to Dave Monk, who is Shipmonk. If you're on the internet at all, if you're in our Facebook group, you will know Dave. And I probably saw Dave every single month, I think, in 2019, 2018. So it's been really strange not to see him this last year. So we're just going to catch up. And we thought, why don't we let a few hundred people watch our conversation? I think we're very lucky that Hudson is here and he has stayed by my side. Very interesting. Maybe it's for Dave, because normally as soon as I hit live, he runs far away. So hello to everybody who is in the chat. I've had so many new people to my channel this week. So if you're a new person, welcome. I'm Emma from EmmaCruises, and it's really nice to meet you. It's been really, really crazy, but really cool. I was on YouTube's Creator on the Rise, which means that YouTube promotes me on its page to people who really have no interest in cruising. And I attracted some very strange people from across the internet, but also loads of really nice people. So if you're a new person who is here, hello, and thank you for joining us. Hello to Lou, who was actually the first person in here today. He beat Marcus in here. Marcus was in here with his 2 hours to go, right on schedule. Hello to Michelle, and Justin is on a plane. He's on a plane right now to Miami, but he will watch this when he lands. So Justin, I hope you're having fun on the plane. Hello to Sean. Hello to, I think my parents are in here. I think my granddad is watching too. Loads of people in the comments. I think we're probably going to get quite a lot of questions for me and Dave today. So if you can write question at the beginning of your question, it makes it so much easier for me to see what is actually a question and what isn't a question within the chat. There's a lot of comments there. If I don't reply or read one of yours, I'm not ignoring it. I can't read it and have a conversation at the same time. So please don't be offended if I don't read you. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I just have not seen it. I do my best, but I think I need so many pairs of eyes to read all of these messages. Hello to Phil, and hello to Kevin and Russell from Ohio. We've got Paul and Carol in here. Hello, Paul and Carol. Loads of people in here. Yep, Sean says, if you have a question, please start it with question. I think we're just going to get straight on and invite Dave up, if that works with you guys. I just want to catch up with Dave, to be honest with you. It's been a long time, and Dave knows so much stuff about cruising. If you think I know stuff about cruising, most of it is from Dave. I've got to be honest with you. I rarely share all my cruise news I do every week. I check everything with Dave because I don't know where he gets his news from, but he is on it. Goodness, so many people in the chat. Hello to everybody who's in here. Hello to Tristan and Justin. Hello, it's nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Goodness, going so fast. Oh, yeah, Mum's in here. Hi, Mum. Okay, let's get up Dave. Come on, Dave. Welcome. Come up.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? It's been really strange not seeing you for the last year.
It's been really weird. Always seeing you on ships or at events. So yeah. It's been crazy. I mean, seeing you on YouTube, you kind of feel like you want to start talking because you want to chat, and now we can. So we've managed to combine the two.
We've done so many strange things. When I think back about the things that the events we've been to together, it's just bizarre. We've been to shipyards, we've been to new ships, we went on what was it, Spirit Discovery, the cruise that didn't go to anywhere, floated out and came back. Ginger Joe has a good question of how or where did you guys first meet? And where did we first meet, Dave? I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's probably it might have been at an event. I don't know.
It must have been. I'm sure it must have been. You were one of the first people I ever met in the cruise world, and I think that was a nice thing for me and a good person to get in with, because how you know everything as fast as you know everything, where your sources come from, I have no idea. People in the chat don't know who you are. Do you want to give a very quick introduction of you? Maybe a bit. I think it's interesting how you got on your first cruise, and just a little bit. I'm sure people know who you are, but there's probably some.
No, I'm sure there's lots of people that don't. So very briefly, I've been a journalist for 42 years, started at 18. I worked on local papers, and then I came up and worked on nationals. And my most recent job was I was deputy editor of Metro newspaper for 17 years. And back in 2005, I was invited on a cruise as a press trip. So as a journalist, and the great thing about cruises as a press trip is you can take your partner. So I took my wife. Yep. And as you know, Emma, it's like crack cocaine. You go on 1 3-day cruise, and then they say, how about a 7-day cruise? So you go on that. And then I got into the circle of cruise writers and public relations people and began being invited to lots of other things. I only wrote 1 or 2 features a year for Metro because they thought cruise wasn't for them. How wrong they were. Yeah. So in 2013, I set up Shipmonk, my blog. And then in 2016, I gave up work full time. And now I do cruising, which I thought was going to be a sort of hobby, but is almost a full-time job again, because trying to keep on the ball and trying to keep up with all the news that's happening during the day and write articles for newspapers and magazines and do the blogs and everything else. It's, as you know now, it is a full-time job.
Yeah, I don't know how you, I mean, recently, the last few months, if you dare to go for a walk, you come everything is completely different. Isn't it? Like a new cruise line is announced at British Isles Cruises, or some, how you keep up with that, I have no idea, but I'm glad you do, because in our Facebook group alone, I know you do a lot more than publish in our Facebook group, but the stuff you do just keeps everyone up to date. So thank you for all of that. But I think this last kind of 6 months, you must be exhausted. Have you managed?
It's been unusually busy. People think, often people outside the cruise world say, oh, you must be very quiet, there's nothing going on. But it's actually been my busiest year in terms of readership and everything else and everything I do, because there's so many questions about how, when, where cruising's going to return. And recently, as you say, the Round Britain Cruises, I put up a joke tweet about I'm popping out for half an hour with people not mine announcing any more Round Britain Cruises. Which, of course, inevitably that's the most popular tweet. But it's been like that. I popped out this morning and Disney announced their Round Britain Cruises. So you're desperately sitting in a car trying to read an email and type the information in. But it's good fun, and it keeps up my sort of journalism. All that experience I've had over the years, it's great to be able to put that to some use and still be able to get news. And the fun thing sometimes is you find news that kind of shakes people around a bit. I mean, they do say that news is something that someone somewhere doesn't want printed. So as well as all the nice positive stuff, there are occasionally stories that come up and you think, oh, this will rattle a few cages. So occasionally fall out of favor with one cruise line or the other, but normally pretty briefly, because they understand I'm there to do a job. I'm not just a PR for them. So it's good fun.
I mean, you wouldn't be very good at it if you only reported certain stuff. You're like, nah, that one's bad. I'm not going to report any cancellations. I'm only going to report new cruises. Like that would not work. I need to say a quick thank you to John for my super sticker. Thank you, John. John is in here every single week, I think. Or probably, I was going to say as much as me, but maybe a little bit less than me. But every week. So thank you, John, for that. How many cruises have you done now, Dave? In total?
Yes, I thought someone might ask this, and I should have really checked. But I would say it's somewhere in the 60s. The thing that I do keep count of is the number of different cruise lines, and that's 30 now. So it's a nice round number.
That's good.
So done everything from 12-person boats in Scotland up to Symphony of the Seas. So lots of different types of cruising. And yes, with this Round Britain season as well, I hope to do a few unusual ones as well as the more mainstream ships.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll be able to get you know, you can get quite a lot in, can't you? Quite a lot of them are short, so you can get your numbers up. Not that you need, but why not? We have a question from Francesca from Gluten Free Horizons. She says there seems to be news of new build ships appearing every week. Yes, there does. Which upcoming new builds are you most excited to sail on? I'll let you go first, Dave. I need to think.
Well, I know that you mentioned Scenic Eclipse, which obviously isn't one of the most recent new builds, but didn't get much chance to sail before COVID.
That.
But yes, well, I mean, Emma, you and I were on Scarlet Lady last year in a very drizzly Dover in February. It'd be nice to see that in the sunshine. Iona, of course, is the new P&O flagship. It'll be great to see that. Virtuosa from MSC. One of the ships I can exclusively reveal to you, one of the ships I will be sailing on this year is the new Golden Horizon, the biggest tall ship in the world. Yes. So that's going to be really interesting with sails and fantastic lounges, but also it's a very traditional sort of sailing ship. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like.
That will be. To me, I see those ships and it looks like it's made for a movie, like it's a prop. To me, it doesn't really sink in that, you know, people actually go on these cruises, but that sounds amazing. For me, I mean, I'd love to get on Iona because I tried so hard and I booked and it didn't work out. And I think that's a really interesting one for P&O. I'm going on Virtuosa. I kind of feel like Virtuosa is just kind of the bigger version of Meraviglia Grandiosa, and I love those ships already. So I'm going to like Virtuosa, it's no question. And I'd love to do Mardi Gras. Cool.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes, I've been thinking of ships obviously closer to home recently. But yes, Mardi Gras. I think we should get on that roller coaster, Emma, because that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I hope so. I just imagine the wind. I don't know. It's really high, isn't it? Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, we have another good question from Visit With Us. I suspect this is Rich behind here. He says, Dave has done 30 cruise lines. What's his 31st? Do you know what your 31st is?
Well, my 31st probably will be, I'm just trying to think in terms of time, but it could well be this the Golden Horizon, which is trade wind voyages, completely new cruise line, you know, set up within the last year during lockdown, basically. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the 31st cruise line.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I was just thinking that another one that I will be going on, but I've done one of their river cruises before, but Riviera Travel they've got a ship or a new ship to them called Sea Venture, and that's going around the top of Scotland. Looking forward to doing that. I mean, let's hope we're going to have a wonderful summer this year because it relies so much. All the round cruises rely so much on having a bit of sunshine and some good views.
Yeah, I took one British Isles cruise and we had glorious sunshine every single day. I was sat out on the balcony in Scotland getting a suntan, and I was thinking, with this week we were so unbelievably lucky, and it's just there's nothing you could do, is it? It's just chance. I think even if you there's no time you can plan with Britain for it to be warm. This time last year we were sunbathing in the garden. It was the start of lockdown. We were like, this isn't too bad. The sun's out. I remember sitting out there. It was snowing like 2 days ago here, so I have no idea. We have a question which is from Francesca. She says the tall ships are a bit of a dream. Yeah, I agree with that. It's the stuff of movies to me. If you had to sail on ocean, tall ship, or river cruise again, only, which one would you?
Only. Yes.
I think just picking tall ship would kind of limit your options.
Yes, it would a lot. And river cruises are great. I've done a few. I know you've done some, Emma, but obviously the Rhine, Danube, Douro did the Mekong, which was fantastic in Asia.
Nice.
That's a great place to go. So and in America, the Snake River. So yes, I mean I think it'd have to be ocean because you've got the most choice, and there are so many ships from as I say, small boats up to the great huge liners. Not liners. I mustn't say that word. I get told off for that.
Yeah, I did too.
There is one liner, QM2. I wouldn't mind going on that again. But they're huge mega ships. So yeah, I think I'd have to choose ocean.
I think I would as well. As much river cruising is amazing, it is, but there's more ocean than places I want to go on the river, to be honest. And yeah, there's so much variety within ocean, and you know,
one area I've not done so much of yet, but I'd love to, is expedition cruising. So Arctic, Antarctic, Amazon, whatever. So yes, a couple of invitations maybe coming up in that area, but yes, that would be an interesting one to do.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Doesn't really fit in with my budget thing that I've got going on at the minute, but I'm not saying never. Maybe one day. We do have a question that I have lost. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was a very, very good one. Oh, here it is from Kevin. He says, have you ever done a transatlantic cruise? As we were just talking about this one.
Yes, I did the QM2. What I did was to fly out to New York, stay there, and then come back on Queen Mary 2. So you do the sail away out of New York, which is fantastic, as you can imagine. And it's amazing because you think it's going to be, you're going to have loads of time. My wife and I took loads of books. We thought we'd spend all the time reading, but it was really busy. In fact, what happened was that during the transatlantic crossing, there was a rower, a solo woman rower, who got into trouble, and QM2 had to come to her aid. So that was a major thing. I mean, she was in this tiny little, almost a kayak, a rowboat. And this huge ship came up beside her and sent out supplies. She'd lost a satellite radio and a sea anchor. So they sent out new supplies to her. 4,000 people on the deck cheering and really wishing her well. So who thought this was going to be an easy holiday without any news going on, suddenly, I'm sort of trending in Canada because everyone, she was a Canadian, everyone was really interested in this story, and it made news back home and all the rest of it. So the Wi-Fi bill was horrendous.
Well, you're not gonna. That's the type of thing. I mean, you're never going to get that again, are you? You're just in the right place at the right one. Well. Yeah, how interesting, but also that terrifies me. It really scares me.
She did finish it, and I met her after she completed the voyage. So it was a real good news story in the end, but at the time quite dramatic.
Yeah. Oh goodness, we've got Gary in here as well.
Hi Gary.
Hello. Loads of people in the chat, more than I can even say.
I saw someone asking, and it is a good question, about how do you balance being a journalist with keeping good relations with the companies. And as I mentioned just now, sometimes you do kind of not exactly fall out of favor, but you can have some exchanges when they think maybe you're being unfair or you're highlighting something which shouldn't be. But professionals, people, professional PR people, and people, cruise line executives realize that obviously it's not going to be all good news. Sometimes you're going to have accidents, or there's going to be, I don't know, there'll be a pollution story or something like that. Things happen on shore excursions inevitably. You've got thousands of people who are out in buses on hillsides and things. Unfortunately, accidents happen, helicopters, crash and all sorts of things. But, that is part of life, and you can't just ignore it and forget about it. So, I keep good relations with just about everyone, hopefully within the industry, because I hope always to be accurate. So I think that's the main thing, to put things in context. And one of the major gripes I have with some of the cruise haters on Twitter is that they take things completely out of context. the cruise industry, like any industry, should be held to account, and it should have good safety and everything else. But when people exaggerate minor, one case of COVID on a cruise ship, and they say, "Oh my God, it's so dangerous. Why does anyone go on a cruise ship?"
Yeah, I get that all the time.
As a journalist, I like to put things in context. You've got to have balance, and you've got to have facts. And I think as long as you deal with that, then people will hopefully respect you on either side. And you don't have to be a company PR. They've got their own PRs to do that. They want people to trust you as a journalist. Then when you do say things are good or exciting or whatever, people are more likely to believe you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if you can stop news getting out. It's not like you're the one person who said if something has happened. If you didn't say something, it would just be people listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. So I feel like we're always defending the cruise industry, of course, from people who, I mean, I get this all the time. Why are you taking a risk and going on a cruise? And then all of my friends are having their hair cut and they're in the pub, and I'm like, every single thing, you have to balance things up. Like, you can't just look at this one thing. But I've attracted more cruise haters in the last month to my YouTube than ever before, because YouTube thought it would be, I mean, it was a good idea. Thank you, YouTube. But they put me on like a non-cruise, just the page where everybody is. So it's been fun, but I've spent hours every single day kind of replying to comments.
Talking of Gary, Tips for Travellers, who's still on screen, I saw his comment he received today about, there won't be anyone cruising for 100 years and all the rest of it. And people are just crazy. And I think my job as a reporter, the other thing about balance and everything else, my background is reporting, not feature writing, so I tend to report on things. So on a ship or about a ship, I'll say what's on it, where it goes, whether it's bigger, smaller, faster, slower, whatever, and so it's not often a review, because I'm not a foodie. As long as the food's not cold, moldy, or whatever, then I will say there's a range of food, and this is the food you can buy, eat at which restaurant. So yes, it's more a reporting job, which, whether it's good news or bad news, it's really just conveying the facts. Yeah.
It's important, though. I mean, every time I see anything, I head to your website or your Facebook page to check this. And once you've said it, I'm like, oh, it's fine. It can go in my cruise news. It's true. Or Dave hasn't said it, so I don't trust it. It's you're kind of my filter for things. So thank you for that one. It just gives me a bit more confidence when you've said the same thing as me. I'm like,
well, I always try and check. The other thing of the experience is never base it on one source unless the source is impeccable, and it comes straight from the cruise company or from the PRs, or it comes from a respected reporter in the US. Always get my own source for it to confirm it before I say anything. Otherwise, a bit like Disney last night when suddenly they cancelled cruises out of New York up until October, and everyone's speculating, as indeed happened today, that they're kind of extending their season in Britain. But you put the fact, which was they've cancelled cruises until October, amid speculation, that you're not saying whether it's true or not. It's speculation, and there is speculation. So
the best we can do is I'm not committing to this, but probably this. That's what how I tend to go with it. We have a question from Michelle that says, Emma, have you had any luck trying to get your COVID jab? Well, so guys, so I'm group 13 of 13 because I'm in my 20s and I have no health problems, which is great. Like, I'm not saying, I wouldn't want to be any higher in the priority list. So my options pretty much are to try and volunteer. I've been on the volunteer lists for months and they've always just said we have no space. But a friend of mine, Richard, helped me to kind of find out where you can at least find the jobs. I started applying for jobs that were 4 hours to guard a car park. And I thought, I should be able to do that, right? Should be able to do that. they've declined me every single day for this job. So I lowered my expectations, and there was a job that came up which was guarding a door for 1 hour. And I applied for that and I didn't get it. So I'm trying. But at the moment,
overqualified.
Well, at the moment, I'm not allowed to guard a door for an hour. So it's so good that so many people are volunteering, but volunteer shifts to guard a car park are like, there's so many people that want to do it, which is great. I did volunteering for years at Citizens Advice, and there it would be, we did not have the interest in volunteering back then in the same kind of way. So I'm trying. I mean, if I get one earlier, then that's meant to be. And if it doesn't happen, then it's not meant to be, the way I see it. And if I spend summer, I can cruise with MSC. I might even try a Disney cruise, branching out. Disney's never been something I've considered before, but, I'll give anything a go. And then I should be fully vaccinated by around October. That's kind of the latest guess, which would be fine. That's not the end of the world. But it's going to be strange if I'm sat here watching all of these kind of events happening. Dave will be there for sure, but it is what it is. It's nothing I can do about it. And, it's fine. It's really not that bad. If it wasn't for cruising, I wouldn't be pushing it and trying to get my vaccine earlier because, I'm fine. But it would be really nice. So I'm going to keep trying to volunteer. It's good that they've got loads of volunteers already, but you know what it is. Thank you to Karen for my super chat. I appreciate that one. With the chat, for me, when someone gives me a super chat, it goes straight to that super chat. So if I miss you, I'm very, very sorry. Sean says, please no personal questions to Emma. Thank you, Sean. One of my moderators in here, and he helps me out so much. We've got loads of moderators in here moderating the chat, and I appreciate that because I couldn't do it at the same time. We have a question from Jenny that says, Dave, did you say that Disney may extend UK cruises?
Yes. What I meant by that was that when they originally announced it, I think everyone thought, like the other cruise lines, that they would be sort of June, July, maybe August. And they cancelled the Disney Dream sailings elsewhere up until September, I think it was.
Yeah.
But they were very vague about dates. They wouldn't even say which month they were intending to start. So there was this, speculation about people had seen screenshots and stuff about whether they were going to extend into September, and they announced this morning that they are going to have cruises from Southampton, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Tilbury, and they're going to run right into September. So
yeah,
again, let's hope the weather's good. They're only most of them are 2-3 day, a few 4-day cruises. And I can say, having been on Disney, it's a great laugh. It's not just for kids. There's a whole deck that's aimed at adults with nightclubs, adults only nightclubs and bars and stuff like that. So it's like being on another ship. Apart from occasionally, as you look around, you'll see a very tiny Mickey Mouse symbol, in the back of a chair, or they've got a fantastic French restaurant with a very expensive wine and all the rest of it. But in the chairs, there's a very tiny Mickey Mouse. You almost go crazy trying to find Mickey Mouse everywhere. But it's good fun. It'd be worth it to be on for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'd want to try it. I think if I do it, I would want to take my nieces with me. I've got 2 nieces, aged 10 and 3. The 3-year-old is Disney obsessed. And if without them, I would not be the coolest auntie. So I may try, especially with the short voyages, but I'm going to wait and see what the prices look like when they come out, because Disney have been too high priced for me in the past. And also, they've just not been where I am. They don't really cruise where we are. So I've never really considered them. And occasionally I would see Disney in Norway 2 weeks, and it was so much money. I'd have a look and think, I could do a couple of months on MSC for that price. So haven't considered it yet, but.
Yeah, well, my wife Mandy and I went on, and we were, typical Brits, thought we're not going to get involved in all this dressing up and then there was Pirates Night, and we were all dressed up, and and you sit in a restaurant where an animated turtle comes around and talks to you and all that. It's like being on a trip, really. But it's, you know, it's good fun, and we're you know, dancing along and doing all the pirate motions and all that. So it's like Disney itself. If you like Disney World or Disneyland, and you allow that kind of British reserve and that kind of adult reserve of, you know, I don't want to look a fool. If you let that go and just get into the swing of it, it's great fun.
I'm sure. I'm sure I could do that. I'll give it a go. We have a question from Tyler. I'll let you answer half this question, and I'll do the other half. So he says, do you think there's room for more young people in cruise journalism? You can answer that bit, and general kind of online content creation. What do you think of journalism? It's changed a lot. I get the vibe.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously journalism as a whole has changed enormously from when I first started. You know, newspapers were king. My own city newspaper in Portsmouth that I worked for sold 110,000 copies a day. I mean, now some of the nationals are probably approaching, you know, as little as that. So print was king. There was no kind of feedback apart from people writing letters in green ink to the editor. So there was none of this kind of feedback. But of course, you know, as you know, Emma, in terms of content, certainly, you know, anyone can come online and set up a blog. So it's really being trustworthy, having new content and engaging comment. And I think one of the things that you and I, Emma, we kind of complement each other. You know, you're great at video. I tend to stick to the, you know, the printed word. Obviously our ages at different ends of the cruise spectrum, but you know, we feed off each other, and you know, there's always room for people with talent, skill, and dedication to come in and make their mark. In cruise journalism, you know, cruise journalism is more difficult. If you're talking about working for actual newspapers or magazines, obviously they want people who are professional journalists who have gone through the mill and know about law and how to write, how to structure a story, and all the rest of it. But you know, there is so much content needed now on websites, magazines, whatever. So yeah, you know, it's have your own skill, have your niche. You know, I mean, we know Sana like vegan cruising, or gluten-free cruising, or family cruising, kids cruising. You know, find your niche and be an expert at that.
Yeah, I think the possibilities are absolutely endless. Even if you just say you just want to be on YouTube, there's multiple billions of views per day, billions of views per. Like, there's more than enough space for everybody in here. So yes, give it a go. I think everyone in the cruise world is very nice to each other. So yeah, you have nothing to lose. It's free to make a YouTube video. It's almost free to make a website. It's very cheap. So yeah, you just got to do it. You just got to keep showing up and put in the work, and then good things can happen. We have a comment from Paul and Carol, another great doing great things.
Hi, Paul and Carol.
Yeah, they said, read on the Fred Olsen website today that they're not requiring vaccines. I didn't. I thought that they were.
To be honest, I think at the time they said when they first came out with it, they said they were waiting for sort of government advice and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
it's unusual for Fred Olsen because their target audience are going to be the people that are vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, you know, unusual, but obviously as a, you know, commercial company, it's up to them. But I can understand why MSC wouldn't require, because they're obviously aiming to get younger people on board. But Fred Olsen really isn't that market. So I think that is surprising. I wasn't aware of it, but they did, as I said, they were waiting for government advice. They hadn't made a decision in the beginning. So but yes, that is quite unusual.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. Maybe I'll have to try Fred Olsen cruise.
Yes,
that's something I've never tried. That would be a nice new cruise line for me. I don't know. I'll try anything once, me. So maybe I'll have to do that. Thank you to Darren, who has just joined my channel as a member. You will get access to my weekly podcast, which feels a little bit of therapy for me, because I just talk about everything that's been going on in the week and going well and not going well. And it's going to be an interesting one this week after YouTube put me on that special. So, yeah, thank you, Darren, for becoming a member. We had a question for you, Dave, about what was your first cruise? I can't find it now, but what was the first?
Yes. Right. Well, I did, Mandy and I did one short cruise on QE2 back in the day with some friends, and that was like just from Southampton to Hamburg. But my first cruise as a journalist was a 3-day trip from Barcelona to Corsica, and I think it was Marseille. So it's just like a triangle off the Spanish coast and into France. So that was the first one. Then I did a 7-day Caribbean one, and as I say, after that I was hooked. So I've probably been most on, probably Norwegian. I've been on quite a few Royal Caribbean ships. There was a spate when they were naming lots of ships in the UK, so I went along to a lot of namings, and you do a quick trip around the Isle of Wight and back, and that's it. But I've been lucky enough to fly out to the States for things like Celebrity Edge, which is fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, for me, I've done more Norwegian than any other cruise line as well, which is kind of why I thought that's what cruising was like. Like, I cruised with Norwegian throughout my teenage years, then took a Cunard cruise. That's what my last video was about, because I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that was a thing. I'd heard that Cunard was formal, but I was not prepared. So that's why I started my website and started.
Yes, and the rest is history. The
rest is history. Yeah, I just would hear people saying things about cruising being formal, and I'd only cruised with Norwegian and MSC, so I'm thinking like you can wear shorts like to dinner. It's nothing. So yeah, Cunard was brilliant, but it was very different, eye-opening experience. Love to do it again though. We have a question from Kevin who says, in terms of days, what is the biggest cruise you've been on? You're going to have me beat on this one, I think.
Yes, well, I mean, considering how long cruises can be, and we're talking of world cruises and things like that. Yeah. Mine haven't been extraordinarily long. I mean, I probably would have thought a couple of weeks, 13, 14, 15 days. The last one I remember, which was reasonably long, was 13 days. That was the eastern seaboard of the US up to Canada, up to Halifax, and then into Quebec and Montreal. Some of the med cruises are a couple of weeks, but of course, a lot of what I do, I mean, obviously I cruise to have fun as well and take normal family holidays, but a lot of it is to write a report. So there's only so many reports you can do on one cruise, so it makes more sense for me, and as a journalist I like to try new things, so it makes more sense to do a lot of shorter cruises. In 2019, I think it was, I did 15 cruises, but some of them were only a couple of days, but it's that experience, particularly with new ships. But cruise writers are a bit like, I always joke, it's a bit like the Queen. We think everywhere smells of new paint, because we get on so many new ships, you sometimes forget what it's like to be on an old ship that's been around for a few years.
Yeah, and I imagine it's very fun to do those, like that type of trip. I mean, I've done a few, but it's not the same as kind of a week or 2 weeks on a cruise. You find a cruise after a week and you're like, I didn't even know this deck was here.
Yes, I know.
So I think you should have at least 10 days on every cruise. Normally I cruise 5 to 7 nights. I think the longest I've done is 13, which was my Asian cruise, which was amazing. But I don't know that I would do a 3-month cruise on one ship. I mean, if someone offered me one, I would. But I would prefer to do, 2 weeks, then maybe a week on land, then a week on a cruise, and then move around and kind of organize my own thing. Because, if I have a ship tour on my channel, I can do that once per ship, right? So it would be, what would I do for the rest of the time once I'd done that in the first week?
What often happens as journalists, and you, Emma, have done some of these before as well, is you're invited on a new ship for like 2 days, and so from the moment you get on, you kind of throw everything in the room, take a quick tour of the cabin, do a quick video or pictures or whatever, and then you're out, you're on the deck, you're trying to take pictures, you've got press conferences. I mean, it makes it sound like hell, and obviously it isn't, but it can be hard work. People, of course, you put on Instagram a picture of you with a cocktail, and everyone says, oh yeah, I saw you spent all the time drinking, but you're in between rushing from one place to another because there is so much to see in so little time. Plus, you often have to file stories from the ship, so you've got to allocate some time to do that. And thank God the Wi-Fi's got better, because it used to take forever even to get a connection, let alone to file a story.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm quite lucky in that I'm my own boss in that sense. So no one is saying you've got to submit 1,000 words by 4 p.m., which I know sometimes you're like, I've got to go, I have to write this down. For me, it's more, I've got to update my Instagram story. Everyone's like wondering where I am and stuff. So,
on Scarlet Lady last year, as you remember, the weather was awful. We didn't get on till 2:45. I had to file a story at 3 o'clock. Thankfully, from past experience, I'd basically written the main bulk of the story and just left the top part to write on the ship. And of course, I ran to the top deck, took the selfie of me with the pool, and then went down to the cabin, and then put a few paragraphs on top, sent it over. But of course, after that, then hopefully you can relax a bit because you've done that bit of work. But yes, it can be nerve-wracking at times.
Oh, that sounds really stressful. Don't know how I'd like that. We have a question which says, Dave, what do you think have been the biggest changes on cruises since you started?
Well, I think going back to what you said about formality, when I went on the early P&O cruises that I did, there was basically one main dining room, one table, one chair. You sat the same place every night. People would dress up, even not on formal nights, they would dress up. And of course, you're sitting with the same group of people who then, I mean, you think I'm old now, they were elderly then, I was a relatively newcomer. So yes, I mean, once NCL Norwegian sort of came in with freestyle dining, lots of different restaurants, no dress code, that really shook up the industry. And of course, since then, it's not really looked back. Cunard is still pretty formal, and places like Fred Olsen, but most of the cruise lines, even P&O, but P&O with Iona, they're still going to have formal nights, but lots more choice of restaurants, lots more informality. So, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's coming kind of my way. I'm definitely the more flexible, the less dress codes. I like doing that stuff most of the time, but I like it to kind of be on my terms. It's fine if I know, I'm going on a Cunard cruise for a week. Fine, as long as I know, I pack everything and you've got it, you've got it worked out. But on a normal cruise, I'm quite happy to skip forward nights sometimes. Yeah, but I mean, after this kind of year, I'm going to take every opportunity to do everything. I think I'm not going to skip anything ever again.
Well, Mandy's got, whole wardrobes of fancy dresses, not fancy dress, but nice dresses, to wear. And, it's great sometimes to go on like when we did the transatlantic. And part of the enjoyment is having that time to prepare, get ready, have drinks beforehand, go to a table where the waiters know exactly what drinks you want, what food you like, and all that, and to have that time as a couple, and to make the effort to dress up is actually quite nice. But on a normal cruise, to be able to walk into a restaurant with just a polo shirt and shorts or whatever, again, that's great. Particularly if you're in the Caribbean, and it's such a pain for us Brits if we have to fly over lots of formal wear to somewhere like the Caribbean. Because it's all extra luggage.
that wouldn't work for me. I'm very, very light traveler. I don't want to pay for luggage. I'll do the carry-on bag, 2 weeks, no problem. But that's not going to fit formal wear. When we did our Cunard cruise, like 2 dresses is a suitcase.
Yes.
Not all the time. I mean, I'd love to do another Cunard cruise, but maybe I'll do one from the UK so I can bring as much stuff as I like. Maybe I have you too. Rummel muffins for my super chat. That's an amazing username. And thank you to John, who says that he has a text from Hudson that says, "Now support Emma, please." That's a good text. Hudson is living his best life. He's got almost 1 kilogram of Dreamies, which is for a cat. He's got, I think, like 10 packets of Dreamies right now. So he's a happy little cat. He's wandered off now. But yeah, thank you for that one, John. And
at least he joined us at the beginning.
He did. We were honoured with that one. I think we were very lucky. We had a chat.
I was going to put this sticker on as well. Very
cute. I'm working on my stickers. Those ones not fantastic, but I'm getting a new printer, and at some point I'll have stickers. Thank you to Kevin for my super chat. He says, "Dave, what is your favourite cookie?"
Now, I'm not so much into cookies as you are, Emma, but yeah, I do. Those freshly baked ones, with a little bits of chocolate in, fantastic. For me, it's the buffets that are the killer, because you think on land, you go to a restaurant and have nice food, but if you walk into a buffet, particularly like a breakfast buffet on a cruise ship, and you think, oh, I haven't had muffins for a while, I haven't had crumpets or omelets or whatever it is, and you end up with this groaning plate. But it'd be great to eat that cruise ship food again. The thing on Moretta, I was trying to think what it was now. There was something fantastic. It was every day. I think it's the sausage rolls. Yeah, the sausage rolls were fantastic.
Sounds amazing.
more than cookies.
Yeah, well, the cookie thing for me is just especially when I cruise with Princess. Whenever I go via the buffet anywhere, which I do if I know there's cookies there, just pick up like melted chocolate chip cookies. You can't beat them. On Viking, they had these amazing, I don't even know what they were, just sugary vanilla biscuits, and they were unbelievable. So good.
They're your Dreamies, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, so much. We have a question that says, do you think the Virtuosa cruise will have formal or gala night? I'd guess so. 4 nights. Probably they'll have a gala night on there. I have to say I've been to MSC formal / gala nights where I've seen baseball hats, tank tops. They're very, very relaxed with their formal nights. That's it. I mean, people do dress up. If you do want to dress up, you're not going to look, no one's going to look at you, but don't expect kind of a very formal night from MSC. I think there'll probably be one though in 4 nights. I think so.
I remember going on a Carnival ship, Carnival Sunshine, I think it was, and thinking that people wouldn't dress up, but they did. Not necessarily tuxedos and all that kind of stuff, but really elegant dresses and really smart suits. So
I mean, you don't get to do that in real life. When do you get to wear that? I have a couple of dresses that, when we've been to awards and stuff together, I'm never going to wear that again in real life. So cruises is kind of the only chance to, you can't really be overdressed, I don't think, on a cruise.
No,
I guess if you couldn't fit at the dinner table because you had such a big dress. But apart from that, I think it's just a chance, isn't it, to do that. Thank you, Craig, for my super chat. I appreciate that. And we have got the cruise monkeys in here. We were talking about cruise monkeys. Oh,
brilliant.
Dave. And they say, yes, we know the feeling of a plate of pasta, beef and gravy. Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's always I'll have Chinese noodles and Chinese food and then Yorkshire pudding on top or something. But it's so nice. They're changing the buffets slightly, aren't they? So
yes.
For the food. So I do wonder what you're going to think.
It's still all you can eat. It's just that you'll have to get someone to serve it to you. So
I just imagine
of course,
kind of.
Again, I think being Brits, you start off being quite reserved and say, oh no, just one sausage for me or something, and then by the end of the week, it's kind of give me more. I can take it.
I think So I worked in Asda for a couple of years, and all the time people would come back in and be like, "Hi, it's me again," and I have no idea who you are. Remember you. And it's probably the same thing with the buffet. Like, I would think, oh, they've seen me get 7 cookies today, they're gonna but in reality they're just doing their job, aren't they? But I have images of me kind of going with like a plate of rice and noodles and Chinese food and saying, "You're putting on top of this, please," and they kind of look at me. But I'm sure they see some things in the buffet, don't they? As long as you're polite, say please and thank you.
Yes,
I feel like it's okay. We have Pete in here from Cruises for Solos. We've both had a chat with Pete recently. He says, "Have you ever missed the ship, Dave?" I have not missed the ship, thankfully.
No, thank goodness, and touch wood. There's been a couple of times. We were in Alaska once, sitting in a restaurant, and it was the service was a bit slow, and then you suddenly notice that people are walking past at a slightly faster pace towards the ship. And
Oh,
you're
no.
thinking, oh no, kind of, oh no, just bring us the check. We need to pay.
Yeah. Gosh.
I mean, Mandy and I have been the last people on a ship sometimes, but thank goodness we were on an official shore excursion, so they couldn't tell us off, or do anything about it. But yeah, they kind of brought up the gangway after us, but thank goodness never missed a ship, and I hope never to.
Yeah, and I'm always back hours earlier than I need to be, because it's not worth the stress for me. It's not worth it. And thank you, John, for your super chat. He says, "Has anyone got a few $100,000 just lying around so we can go on a world cruise?" Yes, I'll accept anything. I promise to invest it in cruises if you do want to donate anything. Jenny says, "Do you think there will be UK deck parties and sail away parties this summer?" I hope so. I think we don't mind if it rains.
No, I'm sure. I did a round Britain cruise on Silversea once, and we were going around. I think it was the north of Scotland, and they had this outdoor eatery, which is about 3 tables, and it was freezing. We had blankets but it was fun. But I think certainly deck parties and sail away parties, because they'll be in the open. They'll be safe. And hopefully the weather will be nice enough. But even if it's a bit on the chilly side, I think people are just going to love being on a cruise ship again, and with a drink and with other people and waving goodbye to the ports. And yes, I'm going to be up there, certainly.
I'll be there too. I mean, I think it's going to be overwhelming after such a year of nothing exciting. So if I go on a trip to B&Q to buy some nails or something, that is the exciting thing of my weekend. I have been to one restaurant once last summer, so the idea of just eating out even is so exciting. And I think us Brits, if we're sailing from the UK, we're not going to mind if it's cold and rainy. I did a cruise on Britannia. We did a cruise to Norway. It rained every single day, but everyone was there with their flags and everything at the sail away. So yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be better for the cruise lines really to have everyone outside.
Yes.
Social distancing and stuff. So
there's going to be some great parties, I think.
I think so too. I'm looking forward to it. So the cruise I've booked on Virtuosa is limited to 1,000 guests. There's about 6,000. So I'm on a ship that's a 6th full. And if you wanted to pay for something like that normally, it would be so expensive, wouldn't it? So I'm treating it as like, that's an upgrade in itself. I would pay more to have less other people on the ship with me.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the cabins, where they kind of leave every other one empty or something. So you won't even, you'll be able to expand your balcony, go next door as well.
Yeah. Oh, that would be.
Oh, you're inside, aren't you?
I am inside, yes, but also the ship is a 6th full, so I'm thinking they might.
So you're hoping.
Yeah,
I might get an upgrade.
I mean, I feel like out of all the cruises I've ever taken, this one is my best chance of an upgrade, maybe. But I don't mind. I stayed in an inside cabin on Meraviglia, and it was great. So I'm happy with what I booked, but it would be.
Yes.
We have a question from my dad in here who says, "Have you ever seen anyone famous on a cruise?" And then he says, "Emma, remember who was on the Epic with us?" So I love the TV show The Undateables. Have you watched The Undateables?
Oh yes, yeah.
And it was Daniel from The Undateables doing karaoke, and I was very starstruck. That's the most famous person I've seen on a cruise. Have you ever seen anyone?
Well, of course, at christenings, they normally have someone well known Like Helen Mirren was godmother. I was at Britannia, so Her Majesty the Queen was there.
The actual Queen.
Yes, yeah, the actual Queen. I mean, you do see, particularly at christenings, you do see people who are quite well known. But yeah, I can't think of anyone I've been particularly starstruck by. But yeah, that's not on a normal cruise, but at these special events where they invite all the VIPs, you get to see some famous faces there.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people from Coronation Street when I went on Britannia. That was enough for me. I mean, I didn't say hi. I was too nervous to say hi, but in the same room as them, that was exciting. That was when I went to see Astonishing, when that was a new.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then me and Mum took a cruise for a week, which was fabulous, if a bit very, very rainy. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I'm not very good at famous people, I don't watch a lot of movies. I'm not up to date with anything at the minute. Because
I was on a christening of Adonia, P&O ship Adonia, and that was Shirley Bassey named it.
Ooh, okay.
And she burst into song, just kind of completely without backing or anything else, which I got on video, which did very well. But yeah, so you do, and I've danced with various TV stars, these. There was I don't even remember her name now, but there was a woman who was on Spook's TV program, and so we were on the dance floor. But
very fancy. I mean, I did go to Rome with Paul and Carol, who were in here, to see Catherine Jenkins sing.
Oh yes, of course.
So that was pretty cool. That wasn't something that you do every day. That was really interesting.
I've seen Joanna Lumley at events. She's lovely.
Oh yeah, she's all over the cruise stuff.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, we've got so many comments in here. I just want to say a quick hello to everybody who I can't say hello to everybody I've missed because we've got 309 people in here. But a quick hello to a couple of people who I've seen have just joined us. My goodness. Thank you so much for all of your comments. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to say a big hello and thank you for watching this, I think. We've got a question from Paul who says, do you think the prices will change once cruises start up again? I feel as though the summer season is pretty fixed. The prices are what the prices are. But next year is looking pretty expensive at the minute. So I'm not sure what will happen there.
Yes, it's obviously supply and demand. At the moment, the supply is relatively small and the demand is high.
Really high.
And of course, the companies have spent millions, billions of pounds keeping ships ticking over all this time. So, but it's, highly competitive as well. So they've got to find a level at which that people just won't switch to another cruise line. Yeah,
I mean, MSC have done a great thing with allowing me on without a vaccine because, I mean, if I want to go on a cruise, that's the price I'm going to pay. The price I paid, though, I don't think was too high. I paid £499 for 4 nights, including all your premium drinks. So I'm just going to eat and drink £500 worth of stuff, which I think I can do
cookies.
That. Yeah, £500 worth of cookies. I think I can do that. I've only got one port. We go to Portland Island or whatever that is. So I don't know what I'll do there, but it'll be much nicer in the sunshine, no matter what it is, and one sea day. So I don't think that's too bad. I mean, normally I try and stick to £100 per night budget, but I think if I want to go on a cruise, I want to go on a cruise.
Yes.
Say MSC for the win for us unvaccinated. MSC to the rescue. I mean, they have been doing this since last July. So I'm very I feel very happy to be on board. I feel happier than I do going out at home. I'm not in a rush to go back to restaurants and stuff on land. I feel like MSC will do it better.
They have got the experience.
They have. And I mean, just because they're allowing people on who don't have vaccines, that doesn't mean that everybody on there is going to be unvaccinated. It's still going to be more than they've had throughout the rest of the summer, isn't it? So it's going to be even better. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. Aaron says, have any cruise lines employees recognized you from your YouTube channel? A couple of times, yes. I did have someone on Scarlet Lady recognize me from when I was on, I toured the ship when it was just in the shipyard. It wasn't even a real ship. And they said that they watched that in preparation for working on the ship, which was strange. But yeah, sometimes I really try and just blend in. And I don't want to be this person walking around with a big camera. Like, I just want to be a normal person on the cruise. So I try not to draw too much attention to myself. But sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes.
Occasionally, although I'm not, very big at all on YouTube, I do occasionally get people, normally within the cruise industry or within the staff, but sometimes people will say, "Are you Shipmonk?" So it's a nice moment when people do recognize you, particularly when they then go on to say, "Oh, I read your stuff," or "I'm a fan," or whatever. So it's a nice thing when it does happen.
I mean, everybody. I feel like whenever I'm at any event, I'm like, Dave, who's that? Is that person? Because you know most people, which is brilliant. Amazingly, it has been a full hour of our chats, the fastest hour of the entire week, I think. So I think it's time for us to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for coming on here, Dave. Do you want to say anything quickly? Let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, I'm at Shipmonk on Twitter, Instagram, Shipmonk on Facebook. Just don't confuse me with the big Florida logistics firm, also called Shipmonk. But yes, you'll find me there, or if you go to Emma's Facebook group, I'll be popping up there as well. So it's been great fun. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all the comments, everyone. And it's been great.
You're very welcome. You're always top contributor in my Facebook group. So thank you so much for that. And hopefully we'll actually get to meet somewhere.
I hope so. I hope
so. Fingers crossed. So thank you, everybody who is in the chat. So many lovely people in here. I will be back same time next week. I'm actually doing a live stream in an hour's time. So if you haven't had enough of me today, I'm talking to Melissa from Cruz Shop Save on YouTube. If you want to join us in an hour, I will be there. I'll be back next week. My mum says, thank you, Dave, for always seeing Emma. Very nice. And goodbye, everybody. I will talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Now we wave. Bye.